We're going to move on. We're going to go into this Derek Carr discussion. And really, to be honest, we're mainly having this discussion because of the huge, not only has Derek Carr been good this season, but this past week he was really, really good. Not turning over the ball. I believe, 3 or 4 touchdowns, 400 yards in the game. Really good. I'll just throw it to you guys. Do you think Derek Carr should be in the MVP discussion midway through the season?
I would say he definitely needs to be in the conversation. And a big part of that really is how he is driving this team forward. You know, he's a quarterback, so obviously he's got a lot of control over this team. But I would say that the Oakland Raiders aren't a bad team. They're not a great team, though. They're pretty average, trending up right now. But Derek Carr is that guy who is pushing this team forward, and he's pushing them forward with a fantastic passer rating, not turning the ball over, getting those touchdowns. And yeah, he's got some good weapons there, Crabtree and Amari Cooper to throw the ball to. But he is that guy who is taking control. And it's always nice to be in that situation where you see a young quarterback turn that corner and say, this is now my team. I am now in control. And this is my offense. Here's what I can do. And that's the situation that we're in Derek Carr. You know, a lot of people were expecting this to be Blake Bortles' breakout year. And how did that go? But no, you know, not as many people were talking about Derek Carr's breakout year. This is his coming out party right now. And really you could, talk about this game with Tampa Bay as the coming out party, where he goes out there, gets over 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He has kind of made his announcement that I am here. The Raiders are a real team again, and it's because of me. I'm the one who's making this team go forward. I'm the one who's pushing them forward.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Honestly, I think it's a little bit of a breath of fresh air in terms of, young quarterbacks that come into a league, they come into a shitty team, and, they just kind of get thrown to the wolves, and then, mentally, they just never recover. And, Derek Carr right now is an exception to that rule. He's been able to overcome adversity, really, really hone in his skills and learn the offense and, figure out his reads and play the type of game that he knows that he's capable of playing. And now we're seeing it. And it's fun to watch. I definitely think he needs to be in the MVP discussion right now. We'll see how it goes as the season progresses here. But again, I think it's one of those things where it's good to see a young quarterback that kind of took his bruises, took his lumps early on in his career, and then was able to overcome that, and then become maybe an elite passer or an elite quarterback in the league moving forward here.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off of UTK, where I totally agree with you. He needs to be in the MVP discussion. And the first thing I thought, I have this thought whenever we talk about the Raiders, and I go back to, it was their win in New Orleans, week number 1. And I was watching NFL Red Zone, and they did one of those locker room live in, let's listen in what's going on after the win. And they got on mic, they got on camera, something that Blackjack Del Rio had said after the game, and it stuck with me this whole season because it's kind of being true. And he goes, you know what, last season was the year where we kind of learned how to play. We learned how to stay in games. Well, guys, this is the year where we learn how to win. And they're pulling out games. You have that close game in New Orleans. You have the close game in Tennessee, the close one in Baltimore, close one against the Chargers, and then the overtime win at Tampa Bay. And a lot of people would sit there and look at that and say, well, Ricky, they're not that good of a team. They're just lucky. Where I look at it and I go, you know what? I rather, with a team like this, it's a good sign. And you want to know why they're winning these games? Because they have a guy like Derek Carr. One of the guys that I brought up last week when me and Sean talked about the MVP was I brought up Matthew Stafford. And the reason why I did was you look at some of the games that the Lions have won. I know it's less than what the Raiders have won, but they had been comeback. Like, he had taken the game over. Well, Derek Carr's done it a lot more than Matthew Stafford has. And for a young quarterback to take over the game, that's what a quarterback is supposed to do.
Yeah.
A quarterback is supposed to be the guy where, you know what, give me the ball. I want to say it was that Charger game. He was getting ready to go out there to, okay, we're going to win the game. And then the Chargers had a mishap, and he didn't have to. Where he was ready to say, you know what, I'm going to win this game. And that is the best quality of Derek Carr. That right now, if the game's on the line, 2-minute warning, we're down by a score, I want Derek Carr as my quarterback.
Yeah, and you're talking about those close games. You know, they've won 5 games by a touchdown or less. So the thing that I like to see with a team is you don't have to be the best team. You don't have to be the Patriots right now to be the MVP. You need to be the most valuable player on your team. And Derek Carr is the guy who's driving this team forward. You know, just to throw Sean under the bus here, Tom Brady cannot be the MVP, Sean. He can't. He can't. The team was just fine without him. They were 3-1 without him. They can't be an MVP. This Raiders team is nothing without Derek Carr, just like the Atlanta Falcons would be nothing without Matt Ryan, a guy who also deserves more respect in the MVP conversation. But it's just one of those situations where you can actually see the return on investment here. You can see how much better Derek Carr being on the field makes the Oakland Raiders, how much better they're playing with him as part of the team. This is your true franchise quarterback. A lot of people probably didn't expect it coming out of, what was it, second round for him? Coming out of the second round for Derek Carr. But
second round, 4th pick, yep.
Yeah, so this is exactly what you want. The Raiders, it's looking like a steal. He's looking really, really impressive. I mean, second round, it's not like, it's not a joke. It's not like we're talking about 6th round here.
I mean, what was it? Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick?
Yeah. So, but still, you're looking at this guy, and he's really stepping up. He's really making his name for himself. And he probably isn't going to win the MVP in all reality, but he's definitely a guy who deserves it right now.
Just to note, 3 quarterbacks went above him. Blake Bortles struggling. Johnny Manziel not in the league. The only one that would have, I'm going to say, I don't want to say rival him, but I feel like it's unfair to cast him aside because of what happened this offseason, but Teddy Bridgewater. Those are the 3 quarterbacks.
His career's over,
that were drafted. Yeah, but it was an injury. It wasn't like he couldn't play the game of football. That's what I'm trying to say. But those were the quarterbacks ahead of him. And this is a guy where coming out, I knew I had this inkling where I'm like, he's going to be special, but I never thought he would be. And I mean, it's early. It's really early to say, oh, well, he's special, because really, what has he done? He's had a few good games. It's not like he's won a Super Bowl. He's brought the Raiders to an AFC Championship game.
But he really
he's special.
is. He's really that definition of your franchise quarterback right now.
Yeah.
He's coming up, and much like the Vikings fans were saying just last year, you're saying, hey, we know we've got our guy, and we know we've got him for the next 8, 9, 10 years, whatever it might be. We know we've got this locked up. We don't have to worry about a quarterback anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When these guys are coming out of the league, you can't put a price tag or a number on mental toughness. And right now, Derek Carr is the epitome of mental toughness and overcoming adversity. And his teammates are going to start to look at him and say, okay, I'm struggling. How did he get through it? And he really is, kind of go back to your guys' point, he really is going to be a true leader moving forward, just based on the experiences that he has had up to this point. Well,
and I mean, I look at this, he, in the leader thing, you hear it all the time whenever they talk about Derek Carr, how he's already a born leader on that team. But how many times have we seen quarterbacks come into the league go exactly like Derek Carr did? His team went 3-13 his first year in the league, and right away we go, get him out of here. He's not good. The team's not good. No, the Raiders actually stuck with him. You get 3 wins his first year. Then the second year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins last year. We wanted to throw him a parade mark because they finally got over 6 wins. And then this year, it's like you're already 8 games into the year and you're 6-2. You win at Denver this week, you could go into the bye at 7-2.
As the division leader, too.
Division leader, and really, I hope they do go 7-2 because then it makes me look like a genius for having them playing the Patriots in the AFC title game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, next week against the Broncos, I mean, we're going to see. I think we're truly going to see whether or not he's an MVP caliber quarterback that a lot of people out there are talking about. I mean, because you guys obviously, we all know how good the defense is over there with the Broncos. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next week, and then how he overcomes that and how he kind of plays moving forward after that game next week.
Well, and okay, we're going to kind of move on, but before we do, TK, Mark, is there anything with the Derek Carr discussion that we didn't hit when it comes to Derek Carr and the MVP?
Just going to say crown his ass.
Mark saying make him the MVP. TK, how about you? Anything we missed?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
Okay, we are going to, before we move on, like I do all the time, I end a segment. You guys let us know down below what you guys think. Is Derek Carr an MVP? Can Tom Brady? I want to ask that question. What Mark just brought up in this segment. Can Tom Brady, should he just be disqualified because he missed the first 4 games of the season? Let us know about anything we talked about with this discussion.
It's not that he missed the 4
below.
games; it's that his team was still successful without him.
Well, they have the guy that's
Belichick
ready to take over.
Be the MVP.
There you go.
Jimmy Garoppolo is ready to take over for Tom Brady. I'm just saying. But